Okay.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for being with us. How are you? Welcome. It's fun to be here with you. And we are... I have to mute myself here. Woo! I almost killed myself in my ears. That was unprofessional. Thanks for being here. We're here to preview Week 7 and the NFL. By we, I mean celebrity producer Dave Piper. If I could get a hello to celebrity producer Dave Piper in the chat, that would be lovely. And in the meantime, the other aspect of we that I feel like is, kind of part of my attachment is Jim McCormick. It's Jim. Hi, Jim.
Oi! Yeah, it's just I just emerged from the cavern of football. I don't know, the cave, the Aaron Rodgers football cave, wherever that is. I came out.
Did you get any confusing tattoos?
I did, and it's just like a lot of protractors. Yeah.
This astrolabe. I feel like that would be perfect on Aaron Rodgers'.
Etch a sketches and light brights, just like 80s toys and ayahuasca. So yeah.
So we are here to preview Week 7 in the NFL, and we're here with a bunch of you live. We really are psyched that you're here. Going to take questions and thoughts and comments from you as we go along, and then lots more people are watching us after the fact, and we're so happy to have you with us too. We're sponsored by DraftKings, as always. These weekly previews, we thank DraftKings for sponsoring. Talk about them a little bit more. Our goal here is to set the slate for Week 7 and kind of tell jokes about each game, and then maybe make a pick or two against the spread as well. If you're wondering how we're doing, last week a little better. Last week Jim McCormick really good. 11-3 or something like that, Jim.
It got better even with some producer Dave updates. Yeah, 11-3.
It is fair. I don't know yet whether you have summited the 500 Mercator. Dave, can you tell me? Is that in my ear? Has that happened yet or no? One game under 500. Tragic.
But I'm at base camp. I'm at base camp.
You are looking at the upward. And we're going to do a few things, interactive things with the folks who are here. So stick around. It should be pretty fun. Let's get going though and start talking about the Thursday night game. It is the Sean Payton Bowl. It is Broncos at Saints. And the way I wanted to frame this, Jim, is I actually don't know the answer to this question. Are you potentially playing offense for the New Orleans Saints in this game?
It depends. Sometimes it depends. Sometimes my IP address gets blocked in the state of Louisiana. Again, the Cajun lawyer and me, we go back. I've had some litigious days down in Louisiana. A lot of alliteration down there too, and just beignets and overweight basketball players. But that's not true. Zion lost some weight. I'm babbling. But the real point is this. This is incredible, this game. Just by every measure mathematically. Just the fact that two made-up names are playing each other, Bo Nix and Spencer Rattler, not real people. They're like the future NCAA quarterbacks that you draft like 6 seasons out from Oregon State. The other thing is that this over-under is just dramatically low. And I know I'm not talking about the betting aspect of it. I'm talking about how they're framing the game, that this is really like maybe 12 points total is expected. So it's like a 37 over under, just to frame it. So
yeah, the Broncos are really good on defense, and that's very unexpected, frankly. They weren't good last year. They got a little better as the season went along, and the Saints don't have any players. Chris Olave out, Rashid Shaheed out, Taysom Hill out, Alvin Kamara's there. Oh my God, he's going to get the crap beaten out of him in this game. I have a little Bub Means in my pocket. For fantasy, like I'm going to talk about him on the podcast tomorrow. Bub Means, I kind of am a little bit. It's like a pure slot receiver, and like, please give me 11 passes to. I put it this way. I think you know this, Jim. I added him in large.
Yes, yeah. I was bubless. Still bubless.
Yeah. So Bo Nix hasn't been what's the word, good at football at this point, but this is a hard spot for the Saints, and the line reflects it. The Broncos don't really have any business being a favorite on the road against anybody, and they're 3 points favorites against these very, very banged up New Orleans Saints. What do you think?
Yeah, and this is even factoring in, you would think, like mystery with Surtain, like meaning their best player. We're not even entirely sure about his status. Like
I think
Wednesday.
he's out.
He's out, right?
Out.
So yeah. Concussion. So like he's out because of concussion, short week. So my point is, even with that factored in, this is the line. My take, essentially, we don't want to overdo this game, is that this line is so creepy to me. Meaning, like, why should it be this way? That I'm actually going to give the points, and I usually would, but there's something about this that they just believe that this is really this bad. This New Orleans situation, this stripped down. But here's the number one stat I had. Thursday night overs since 2010. Thursday night over-unders listed point totals listed at 40 or below have hit the under 74% of the time. Ooh. So even like it's hard to go lower. And any game since 2019 that's been at 38 or lower has gone under 64% of the time. So meaning like it's specifically a thing difficult to get low enough, but particularly when it gets that low on Thursdays. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I'm going to be on New Orleans just because I don't think Denver's good. Like, this is a horrible line. Don't play this game. Play the under. But yeah, I guess I'll throw I just don't think Denver should be a road favorite against anybody. London game, another one. I won't be there live streaming on Sunday morning. Once again, don't blame me. Blame the NFL. I'd love to be there on our channel here. Well, it's not really on the channel. It's like hidden for the people of the book. But, a lot of people come watch. The Patriots, the footy pajama Patriots, are headed to London to face the hello, governor, Jacksonville Jaguars. I apologize to all of our British fans. You want to talk about crap. These teams are crap. It's hard. The Drake May thing gives you some level of excitement and interest to watch this game. It's a national TV game. But like, couldn't we look back in a year or two and be like, okay, cool, he turned out like Trevor Lawrence? I mean, we had this level of excitement for Lawrence too, and that has not lasted. True.
Yeah. Interesting, because like it's like, yeah, one's like has short hair and one has long hair and one's bad and one might be good. So that's what we have going for us. It's true, though. We're in the early part of the romance with Drake May. Yeah. It was fun last week from what I saw. I watched the condensed version, to be honest. But I suppose my take on this is there's a Spider-Man meme thing going on for these teams. And yet I know I don't want to jump right to the line, but what I'm trying to say is there's more respect being given to Jacksonville than I would have suspected. What is it saying about Drake May? I don't know, but I just think Doug Peterson's really bad at his job. Is that okay to say?
Not for you to say, no.
Yeah.
What the heck? Yeah. You're not allowed to say that. By the way, saying that you're not going to talk about the line kind of is talking about the line, just so you know. The Patriots are a 5.5 point underdog here. What in the what? The Jags in a neutral site are a 5.5 point favorite over somebody that I'm as much of a doubter of the Patriots as anybody, but that what?
I don't know. Do they do vanity plates in Britain? Is there a guy with the Jaguar? That'd be awesome. But I mean, my hope is just that he doesn't bet this game, because there's just no way. There's no way. This is a strange line. I had it at -3, so that speaks to it.
So we're both on the Patriots here. Yeah. Max in the chat says it's a Cartavius line. It's a Tank Bigsby line, but we call him Cartavius, obviously, on the podcast, because that's his real name. He's the map maker. He's Cartavius Bigsby, the map maker. I can't get behind that line. We'll get back to the rest of the action here for Week 7 in just a moment. Let's thank DraftKings for sponsoring, because without DraftKings, we would not have a show. We're very appreciative. And if you've never downloaded the DraftKings app and you would live in one of the magic states where it's allowed, not California, but Pennsylvania, where Jim is, and Michigan, where Dave is, absolutely allowed. Get that DraftKings Sportsbook app if you'd like to place a couple of wagers based on things we say or the opposite of things we say. And if you use the promo code HarrisTube when you sign up, you make one $5 wager. They'll put $200 in bonus bets into your account instantly. You got to use them within like a 3 or 4 day period. So just spread it around on some games this weekend. It's pretty fun. Again, get that DraftKings app. Sign up using the code HarrisTube. That does help us out a little bit. It lets the show continue to happen. We thank DraftKings so much for continuing to sponsor us. I'm not going to talk too much about Dolphins Colts. I would love to talk about Dolphins Colts if their Dolphins had a quarterback. I'll just ask for your pick. The Colts are 3-point favorites at home against Miami. Who you got?
Yeah, I mean, this has just been such an atrocious run by this Miami offense that I'm going to give the points. I'm going to take the home favorite. I don't want to, but yeah.
I'm going to go Dolphins. I don't feel good about it. I said it set the line at Colts 2 and it's Colts 3, so I'm gonna go. I'm not interested in that. All right, I am interested in this game though. For supremacy, question mark, in the NFC North, it's the Lions are traveling to Minnesota. The Lions are turning into a very, very public team. They're on national TV a lot. This game's going to be seen by a lot of people. You tell me, Aiden Hutchinson is the big loss that comes out of a huge win against Dallas. Aiden Hutchinson is their best defensive player. How crippling do you think this is long term? And you can even mention in this game if you like.
I mean, long term, it's definitely an issue because they like to create honest pressure with those guys. Like that's a luxury to be able to have him win on the edge without cheating. And like Aaron Glenn likes to sit back, and he gets that luxury with Hutchinson. So it's going to affect obviously the long term. But for this game in particular, I think it's an issue because how well, this offense has been running, and not just how well Darnold's been playing, but everything's on time. And I think timing is the number one thing. And then conversely, it's going to be really interesting to see how Flores just throws everything at Goff and how he handles that. So the big question though would be how does Detroit conjure up a pass rush?
Yeah, because they don't blitz, right? That's what it is. Yeah, it's funny. Like I think I agree with you. I don't know. Maybe I feel like the bloom is off the rose a little bit of Darnold and the Vikings offense right before the bye. They played really good in that first half against Green Bay, and then the second half not so much, and then the Jet game in London not so much. I almost think Lions can weather this one without without having to blitz, without having to like the real supremacy, the real chess match in this game is the other side, is the Lions offense and the Vikings defense. Long term, I think it's a real problem because I think you're right. No team, maybe. Hutchinson, since he's been in the league, is a pressure machine. Like in neutral type situations, people who track this stuff will tell you he's been one of the 2 or 3 best pass rushers in the league. And eventually you're going to need a pass rush against, whether it's, the Vikings are surprising that they're here, but there's really good teams in the NFC and like eventually you're going to need a pass rush. And if you have to blitz, that exposes, I think you said it so well. I don't know why I'm repeating it. This is a tough game to handicap. I think these teams are good. I think I don't know. I think the Lions are better. I kind of actually expected the Lions to be favored in Minnesota, which is a preview, I guess, of one of my best bets. I feel kind of dirty because the Vikings have been really good and they're undefeated, but like I'm on the Lions getting points in Minnesota. I think it's 2.5 right now.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of this. It's the fun public team. I had it at 3. It's not like some massive thing, but right. I'm just I'm Team Flores, and I'm team. Also, I want to mention that Jared Goff in a dome playing against Brian Flores doesn't do as well. So,
and Jared Goff's dome doesn't do so well either. We're going to do a couple of like spikes throughout the course of this for the live folks who are watching us. So if you're watching us live right now, you know what? Even if you're not, even if you're watching us after, you can still like the video. But we're going to try to get everybody to like this video all at once. So don't do it yet. Not yet. Hold on. Here we go. All right. All at once. Find that like button. We're going to do it all at once because I think someone once said in like an Egyptian tomb that in Sanskrit that if you hit the like all together, that means, I don't know, like you get blessed by the Ankh. I don't know. But we're going to try it. Here we go.
It was Jeff Fisher who said that, yeah.
3, 2, 1. Give us a like spike. I want to see it. I see myself saying 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Oh, boom. There go the likes. We appreciate that very much. Thank you so much for the like spike. And in honor of the like spike, Jim, I'm gonna get to a few of the comments here and questions. Let's see. We've got Goff can't process 8 people at the line every time, says Bill, which is part of Jim's contention that if you throw a lot at Jared Goff, he could have some problems. Ian says, I don't really understand how the Lions are dogs. I kind of agree with that. Let's see. Randall says the Lions' rushing game will be the difference. They'll keep Goff safe as well. That's. I hope that's right. I think Colin says, have I started Harry Potter yet? And the answer is no. We'll get back to the chat here momentarily. Let's keep going on some games. We've got the Amari Cooper to Buffalo game. The Bills are a pretty heavy favorite against Will Levis. And the Bills are favorite, but we've got Dave Piper on the line. Jim, he's in our ears right now. Mm-hmm. If he has a favorite, I mean, that dude plays for the other team. Will Levis is clearly Dave Piper's favorite. And we understand why, don't we? Non-stop comedy.
He's a content machine. I mean, he's like me, but better at football. It's great. You know?
Amari Cooper to Buffalo. I think from having come on my show for a decade that I have suspicions about Amari Cooper, that he will have 4 blow-up games for the Bills, but that he will follow them up with, stubbing his toe and acting like he's been shot. Your overall impression of them not getting Devontae Adams and getting Amari Cooper?
Yeah, I mean, suppose it's second in class, right, of those two options. But at the same time, I kind of like it. I kind of like it. I kind of like the big playability that we've seen. Maybe I'm just remembering the splash plays that he produces. It also just seems like Amari Cooper's made for connecting airports. Like he just.
I think they said he drove there. He drove from.
It's even better. Yeah, that's even better. I just feel like his van like beeps when he backs it up. Like he just seems industrial. So,
the Bills are a 9-point favorite at home against Tennessee. Who would you take there?
Yeah, it's too much. Will Levis is obviously awful. 3.8 yards per attempt against the 32nd worst defense in the league. I'm going to set all this up. I just want to be clear that I'm going to stick with the Titans.
Oh, you are.
The points because Josh Allen covers 32% of his games when he's a big favorite, and he's just not going to do it. He hates being a favorite. He likes just easy, cool Sunday mornings where he's not favorite. Yeah, he likes drama. He likes
drama. I actually had this at 9, so this is a push for me. I got 2 pushes this week, and this is one of them. Wes says, "Hey man, the Titans defense is decent. Tennessee +9 is the play. It could actually be." Let's move on to Seattle against Atlanta. 2 teams who are named after birds.
It's true. It's true.
Really, there's nowhere to go from there. So,
just bird on bird, AV in action.
We have talked about Seattle's run defense, and this would appear to be a terrible matchup for Seattle's run defense. But they're getting the kid back. They're getting the kid from Texas back. At defensive tackle. I think, as of our recording this, the suspicion is that he's back, Byron Murphy. I guess it's not fair of me to put you in the position of being like, tell me, Jim, exactly what Byron Murphy's return means to Seattle's run defense, because he's played like 3 games in the NFL. But overall, did you like him as a prospect? Do you find that defensive line more believable when he's in there?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of these, not that like Jalen Carter's an archetype, but this like new archetype of guys who are he's primarily a pass rusher, and that he fills 2 gaps because you're constantly trying to stop him from pass rushing as opposed to stopping the run. Yeah, he brings a new dynamic. I think the bigger thing is like they've banked on like Ucheka Nwosu to be good, and he's been hurt a lot. So they need anything, any improvement over what they've had because they've been gashed. I thought they were good before. I completely misread. It's ever since that New England game when they just said, let's just punch them in the face and see what they do. Every team since has continued to apply that trade, and it works, whether it's Jordan Mason or whoever, Tyrone, Tracy. So, yeah, there's the fear. It's just that, is it personnel? Is it package? It's probably both, but it's not like Baltimore teams previously were bad against the run. So I think it's personnel.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that said, Atlanta running the way they're running, maybe it's a little of a sucker bet to like believe in the Falcons the week after they do something, because they don't exactly have a history of continuing to do it when it's good. But this line is Falcons -2.5 at home against Seattle. It's basically telling you maybe Seattle's a point better in a neutral field situation. I mean, maybe Atlanta's a point better. Yeah, I'm going to fall in the sucker bet here. And plus it's -2.5. Sure, they'll win by at least a field goal. I am the sucker on this one. I'm being fished in, but I'm on the Falcons -2.5.
Yeah, I'm in that same box of ice. I'm a fish. It feels so right in terms of just the punch you in the face thing. And I don't know. I'm just such a boomer. I'm just like early West Coast team in Atlanta. No, I don't know why. What a terrible
Kevin Kevin says this one's a trap. It's begging you to take -2.5. I totally agree. We're fish. Yeah. I completely agree, and I'm just going to do it. We're not going to talk about Dave's poor Browns, and we don't need to talk about Deshaun Watson. I'm going to get a one-word answer out of you, Jim. A one-word answer. It's Browns at home +6 against Cincinnati. Which team do you like?
The Dogs.
You said the dogs. It was 2 words.
Dogs.
So you're on the Browns +6. I am too. It feels gross. I am too. All right. You know what? We're going to take a break from the games for just a moment, and we're going to try something new for this live stream, which is 5 minutes of fantasy. We're doing 5 minutes of fantasy. I know that you know us from fantasy football, and we like to branch out and do a little bit of just football preview stuff here. But for 5 minutes, we're going to pick out a few questions, and we're going to answer some fantasy questions. 5 minutes. The timer begins now. Except for you guys are a little behind me, so it doesn't quite begin now, but soon. Really soon.
It just started, yeah.
Just started. 5 minutes of fantasy starts right now. And now we're going to watch the chat. I'm about to see the chat. I haven't quite got there yet. All right. Anthony says, Chase Brown and Darnell Mooney for Mike Evans in a trade. Which side is better?
Mike Evans, because you're just consolidating one thing I can do with every week. I just know I can do something with that every week. I don't know what to do with Darnell Mooney. So,
yeah. Although I do like Chase Brown. If you're horses for pony mode, yeah, you're consolidating. So I'm okay with that. Let's see. Sutton or Eckler this week in a PPR.
I mean, Eckler, because he's not in the game that's going to have 12 points. I mean,
yeah, it's a tough one to rely on, Bo Nix. It's tough for me. It would be a lot easier to make this decision if Brian Robinson was going to be out. As of our recording this, we don't know that. I think I probably do still say Eckler. How about Maxime? You're asking me Joe Mixon or Tyreek Hill? Come on, Maxime. What are we doing here? Play Joe Mixon. That's very, very silly. Let's see. Where are we? Randall says Chase Brown or Jaden Reed as a flex question.
Chase Brown's going to get the touches. I know Jaden Reed has been popping off. He's so fun.
Oh, come on.
I'll take Brown's work.
We're going to part company on this one. It's Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed's the right answer.
You're a Reed
Don't
guy.
be sitting. Don't be sitting, Jaden Reed. How about a trade from Carl? Says A.J. Brown for Gibbs and Jared Goff.
No. I want what? Who's getting what?
Which side do you want to be on?
I'd rather have Gibbs the rest of the year. So just Gibbs straight up the rest of the year. I know he's splitting, but I still.
Right. It feels like Goff would be a throw in there, like a sweetener there. Yeah. You know, I would say check my rest of the season ranks at harrisfootball.com because I'm gonna have Gibbs and Brown really close to each other, and I don't care about Goff in this trade. So if you're making this trade because you have to have a receiver or you have to have a running back, then I'm fine. I think it's a fair.
And Brown's passed his bye, so that might be math for you. So
a fair trade. Maxime clarifies. Chase Brown. It was Joe Mixon or Tyreek Hill for the rest of the season. But the thing is, for that, just go to harrisfootball.com. I have rest of the season ranks at harrisfootball.com. Yeah. Anthony asks a question: is Keon Coleman droppable in a fantasy league right now?
He is. Yeah, you can just say goodbye. Yeah, bye.
Yeah. You know, is he droppable? I mean, most of the leagues that you and I are in, he would be picked up right away.
Oh yeah. I would name my team Keon Coleman.
So I would tend to think that means no. I would tend to think that means like
no. That's true. Yeah. I suppose it's all about options. Yeah, and usually things are gross by now. I don't know what I'm saying. I just suppose. Just hold and wait for that one moment that you're not going to play them. So go for it.
Aaron says, "What's wrong with Kyler Murray?"
Yeah, I think teams know that they can make him do Kyler Murray stuff, and he's just like, let's do it. They just keep him in that. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Your 5 minutes of fantasy are over. I hope you enjoyed them, folks who are here and folks who are watching after the fact. We love you as well. We're going to move on. Good game. Let's preview the Texans at the Packers. The Texans have had to travel to Minnesota and they've had to travel to Green Bay, and I guess traveling to New England wasn't that hard, but they've had some road games here. This is a tough one. You've been really, really, I was bullish all summer on Houston, but I think you've outbulled me on the Texans. Does this extend to going into Lambeau and like, do you fear that at some point, like back-to-back road games, this is a really hard place to play? Like, do you fear at some point, even if you don't think the team is like in danger overall, that this might be a bridge too far?
It's starting to feel like that a little bit, that it's going to be spread too thin, especially with like not paying, I suppose, yet for one being one of the worst early down teams in the league, like just in terms of just like how they set themselves up, but they get out of it. Like it's the how do they get out of a team? Like even with Mixon, I think they have one of the worst success rates or one of the longest second down distances. My point is, they've been able to overcome these things, even the Collins thing. My real question this week is Larry Tunsil, just the fact that like they could be missing protection, and the question would be, can the Packers get to Stroud? This is like a Titans battle. Like this is like not the Tennessee Titans, but at the same time, I'm just reflecting back to that Minnesota game and like maybe the tape that was put on there, like how well Minnesota handled them. That's still interesting to me. It's still holding in me about how do the Packers have a recipe to handle this team. This was a difficult game for me. I thought I would feel Houston, but the more I looked at it, it looks closer.
Do you like, how do you rate the front seven? I know how you love front sevens and back sevens.
I love them.
How do you rate the Packer performance in the front seven so far? Like there's a couple of softies in there that they looked good against that you go, wow, congratulations, it was Kyler Murray. Do you overall, you're looking at these defensive fronts a lot closer than I am because that's part of your job. Are you impressed with the pass rush? Are you impressed with the up the middle run stop?
Yeah, I think it's just between like Kenny Clark and they're getting better playing at Quay Walker, and he's still kind of like always going to be what he's going to miss when he misses. But he's like, they're getting downhill. I think this is a tough matchup right now for how Houston wants to win, particularly right now with like the way that they're winning right now. It's underneath digs, and just pounding you. It's not that fun. Nico Collins changes everything. We shouldn't be surprised. I think his name really esteem hasn't matched yet. I think he's big, but it would be like saying when A.J. Brown's out, what does it do to the Eagles? And it changes things a lot. I think we're at that point with him. So this is Packers -2.5, once again telling us that on neutral field without Nico Collins, as constituted, the Packers are probably considered a 1 point better team. I had it at 3, so the fact that it's 2.5 doesn't offend me, but I also am on Green Bay here. Is that where you're leaning? Yeah, that's exactly. I had it 3, and I just felt weird about it, but I didn't know that Houston has a couple issues that we have to consider, like particularly left tackle and best receiver in the league kind of thing. So,
yeah. All right, well, that's my favorite game of the week. I think there's another one that's kind of a Super Bowl rematch, but I'm really looking forward to Texans Green Bay. I can't imagine how the Eagles could do anything wrong going to New York and playing the Giants. I'm sure you felt great about how the Eagles played against the Browns last week.
It was beautiful. It was wonderful. What was really nice was my friend's birthday, so we were able to talk a lot and really focus on catching up because there was honestly, it was one of the least memorable games ever outside of the sideline injury to somebody not playing football. And then just like general schadenfreude for Deshaun
What's
Watson.
Wrong with them? Like, what is wrong with the Eagles? They haven't scored a point in the first quarter. Like, this shouldn't be this bad. And this clown, like, what is Sirianni doing throwing a bomb to A.J. Brown up 4 at the end? Like, it's so stupid.
It's all bad, yeah. And I think there's a minimum 15-minute delay between every Saquon Barkley touch. And then Kenny Gainwell, it's like a 4-to-1 ratio that Kenny Gainwell has to come in. It's like the minions. It's just really bad. And there is clearly a thematic thing happening since last year. Like, this is the same movie, the Eagles from last year. So even they've installed the offensive coordinator and all these things, it just still seems like the same stewardship. So, yeah.
Do you want to see a McCormick 180?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, go. It's obviously
Eagles -3 in New York.
Can you say revenge game for Saquon, please? So,
it's a revenge game. I am concerned about Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas, finally playing well for the Giants, out for the season, and Malik Neighbors could be back, and so maybe things change. But Daniel Jones really, really needs to be managed. What am I saying? When? Always. So,
always. Yeah.
I think I trust the Eagles in this one.
Yeah, I think it's been gross and mucky and just Just revenge. Just you're gonna see so many clips of Joe Shane on the phone. So just yeah.
Sirianni needs to go, buddy. Sirianni needs to go. I don't think I'm gonna get an argument out of you.
No, he's not.
Anthony says, "Is Daniel Jones gone next season?" He's got to be. I mean, some of it depends on which quarterbacks come out and which, they're going to have options because he's out of guaranteed money, but he's still under contract. But I would have to think he's gone. We got a couple of games that we'll just say who we're picking. I don't like either one very much. Both big spreads. The Rams are hosting the Raiders here in Los Angeles. That will be a 95% Raider crowd. So it's not a home game. And I assume that's figured into the point spread. And yet the point spread is 7 points. The Rams are favored. The Devontae-less Raiders look spiraling out of control. If it's Rams -7, who do you like?
This is just when Antonio Pierce rallies the troops and Zamir White runs it 75 times. This is the only way I would bet this game is to tease it between 3 and 7 for the Rams. Meaning, there's no way I'm betting this game otherwise. That said, take the Raiders.
Raiders, okay. I'm going to take the Rams, but I agree. Don't play this game. And then let's not do any Panther talk on this show. Panthers are going to the Commanders. That's a big line too. That's Commanders -8.
I'm just going to go with the big crazy. I don't even know where it stands right now, but the big crazy 8-point spread thing. Too big. It's too big. Andy Dalton, he has red hair, and the Commanders have red jerseys. Red.
And I'm wearing a red shirt and with red hair. And someone on the chat said I look like I'm literally on fire. This is a push for me. I called this game at 8. So the two giant spreads between Buffalo and Washington, I didn't pick either one. All right, Super Bowl. Before we get to Super Bowl rematch, Super Bowl 0.5, 1.5, whatever, let's do one more like spike. So everybody watching, you're a little behind me now, so I'm building up to it. But we're going to get up to a like spike. So if you haven't liked yet, even if you have, I think you can unlike and like again. Let's do another like spike in 3, 2, 1. Give us a like. Oh, there they are. Beautiful. Thank you very much for the many likes. And if you're watching after the fact, by all means, give us a like on this video. It does help the video become more discoverable to other football fans, and then hopefully they can join. And actually, we would love to have you join if you're watching us after the fact. All right, Chiefs are going to the 49ers. The line is funny to me because the line is like more in favor of Kansas City than it was in the Super Bowl, despite the fact that this is, I don't know, taking place in San Francisco. The 49ers are -1.5. That's not a lot. And I'm scared to death of this game, and I don't particularly want to play it with a lot of my own money, but there are many, many angles. May I give you a couple?
Please.
May I? Okay.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes as an underdog against the spread, 12-3.
There's not many underdog situations. He seems good at those.
Yeah, and he crushes it when they disrespect him, right? It's a Super Bowl revenge game. With a better price for San Francisco, with no Rishi Rice or Isaiah Pacheco. I don't know. Those two things are conflicting to me. It's gonna be really fun, but I feel like I have a good read on the Chiefs team. They're not a 5-0 team. We all know they had a couple games they could have lost. I just don't really understand San Francisco this year.
It's particularly the fact that it's not that. We just talked about Kyler Murray. Why is he so bad? It wasn't that long ago that Arizona did whatever they wanted to this team.
Dog
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. It seems like a year ago. And it's just interesting that how now San Francisco feels back, but by proxy of a few big performances, but then I guess we forget that one. It's just interesting how that works. It works for my brain. I'm just like, they're back because they've identified this brand because it's easy to buy. And whereas Kansas City has this kind of new, it's not amorphous, but it continues no matter what they're actually doing. You continue to buy into the resiliency and what you've said, the play with your food and then kick it at the end thing. And I just believe that's what this speaks to. I don't know if there's any other mysticism other than they're going to find a way. Other than that, it would just be Spags to me, that somebody's factoring in how well he pressures people. But my counter is just that, this 49ers offense is one of the best offenses built for that. Like, just get it out and get rid of it. So I just wonder. Yeah, it's confusing to me. Like, I'm tipping my pick, but it's confusing to me because I just think the better team right now is San Francisco. So
I do too. And if it wasn't Mahomes, I wouldn't play it.
I keep going here. Yeah,
I wouldn't play it with your money, let alone my money. But I think the right side, the handicapping side, is San Francisco -1.5. I think that's the right. I think that's the side. But I just don't. I want to watch it, and I'll maybe bet a prop or two, and probably not bet the actual game itself. Is that you're on San Francisco too?
Yeah, this is so difficult for me. I set this at -2 ? Like, I just was like, what is this going to be? So, I mean, I would have bought that. I would have bought 3, and I could also see just people saying pick because we don't know. So it's just strange.
It is strange. Randall in the chat says, Shanny Jr. will gift the game eventually. The Chiefs are gracious recipients of gifts. Like, that is such a good point because on the one hand, you have Shanahan who in a close game finds a way to dribble on himself somehow.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you have the ultimate, since the Patriots aren't doing it anymore, the ultimate just wait for it. The vomit's coming. Boom. I can see it. I can see the vomit. It come. Like, it is the ultimate. Like, eventually doesn't water seek its level. So we're both. I think Randall probably has us both nailed dead to rights. We're probably wrong, but Anthony says it too. Shanny's fourth quarter game management is terrible.
Yeah, he doesn't bend his brim. It's just a flat brim. So
yeah, it is weird. Max, I agree. It's weird, but he just always seems to find some other way. I mean, a lot of times it's over aggressiveness, but sometimes it's just weird game management, weird clock management. He's a little bit of a panic monster. All right, Sunday night, it's the Devontae Adams game. The Jets, who, I mean, they hung around with Buffalo and they had a chance on Monday night. They're headed to Pittsburgh, and somehow with Devontae Adams coming to the Jets, with Aaron Rodgers acting like he's taken a bullet wound every single time he gets touched, somehow the biggest drama in this game is not on the Jets. Somehow it's about Mike Tomlin telling us that he thinks he's going to start Russell Wilson at quarterback for like a 4-2 team. That's avant-garde, Jim. It's avant-garde.
It's super interesting. I mean, I think he has his path to 9-8 is his path, okay? And he's gonna chart it. I mean, there's only one way to get to 9-win Island, and he knows how to get there. I mean, I suppose I don't know what the calculus is, because this obviously is like, it's not like they just thought about this. So, like, it took multiple meetings to get to this point where we're like, we're gonna say it. Right. No, we're really gonna say it. We're gonna do the Subway guy. So
I mean, the thing is, like, I've been going on the podcast every week and telling everybody, trust me, Justin Fields isn't playing very well. They are managing him to a fare thee well. They are not letting him take chances. They are begging him not to kill them. And then, fantasy people haven't cared because every third game he runs for 2 touchdowns, and so his averages all look
yards,
good.
Right.
So, like, I get it. I get why Tomlin would be like, for the long-term health of this team, if we think we can win a Super Bowl, it's not going to be with that guy at quarterback. I get it. But it's week 7. It's awfully early to be like, couldn't you let him lose?
They met their upper limits of the Justin Fields experience, I suppose. But now we get to take ourselves to a whole new place.
I mean, that's the thing, is like, if you're telling yourself the upside of Justin Fields is not to win a championship, I get it. Latter-day Russell Wilson is worse. Like, if Justin Fields doesn't play in this game, the worst quarterback is playing in this. I think, unless being freed from Denver has freed Russell Wilson's soul. I don't know, man. I think it's a really weird move, and it's actually leading me to take the Jets as a road favorite. Oh.
I just wrote the same thing. I said, how could you possibly be the more dramatic team in this matchup? Like, how? How between and Garrett Wilson, no one even is responding to his calls anymore. That's how quickly this happened. His cell phone shut off.
It's wild. Yeah, well, I mean, you can make the argument that this sets the Jets offense in motion, that Garrett Wilson doesn't ever see a double team again in the rest of his life. True. Like, there's a world where this works out awesome. It would require Aaron Rodgers not to be invested in geometry body art, which, we established early in the show that he is. I don't think it's like I said it at Jets -2. So right now we're recording this. It's -1.5. I don't think this is like a crazy line or anything. I just think it's really weird to find myself on the side of a Jet squad that I think is a mess and will always be a mess as a road favorite. It just feels weird.
They're both disgusting. Yeah. It's just, the matter to me is just, it's going to be a muck. I know it's going to be a close game. So I'm just going with they're both, I don't know, the guy with the more insane tattoos. So, yeah.
we don't even really know for sure about his tattoos. We assume they're pretty crazy.
Russell Wilson has like a Walmart coupon on his tattoo. So.
He's just very practical.
He's reasonable.
Yeah. 2 Monday night games. You know how I love that. First one's really good. The Buck Aikman game is super fun. We get to find out if Tampa is for real. They host the Ravens. If you're doing a power ranking of NFL teams, sort of regardless of conference, we're just stacking the 32 teams on top of each other. I assume you would. Am I correct? A, that you would have the Ravens ahead of the Buccaneers.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and I think I would too. And then B, how many teams would you have to count before you got to? You don't have to give me an exact number. Before you got from
not that
Baltimore
many
to Tampa. There you go.
Yeah, not that many. I mean, we're saying that the Baltimore's in that upper elite tier. Let's say in the top 4-ish range, and then they're in the top 8 range. I mean, I think they're a top 4 in the NFC team right now, but it's also based on, or like right there at the 4th, maybe, like behind, I don't know, they're better than Philly. So they're in there. They're impressive. I don't think Philly should be a litmus test. My point was like, who are the powers in the NFC? I think Tampa Bay is one of them. That's what makes this game so interesting, because they're very similar styles, the way that they want to beat you, at least not quarterback wise, but in terms of the way that they want to address you on defense. So it's interesting.
And you're not going to run on Baltimore. That feels like that's now been established. And you kind of can throw on them. And frankly, Tampa would be thrilled to throw it 60 times. So like there's a horses for courses, as you would say, that says this is a recipe for Tampa to hang in this game. The line tells you that the league thinks there's more teams than you think between Baltimore and Tampa, because this is a harsh line. This is the Ravens going down to Florida and being favored by 3.5 points. By the way, what has 2 thumbs and has season win total under on Tampa? This guy. Not such a good call, was it? With all this orange, you would think I would have been on Tampa, but I was not. So given the fact that you think Tampa and Baltimore are a little closer than the market does, are you going to take Tampa here?
I am taking the points. I just think it's a kick game. I think this is a Justin Tucker special. I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore wins this game. But at the same time, I respect this Bucs team. I kind of think they have a formula, particularly now that even like they're finding this Bucky Irving thing. I know we're all excited about all those crazy numbers, but he's a really good back, and I think they found another identity for themselves.
Fair. I have a feeling it could be a rough night for the Tampa run game, but could be a really good night for the pass game. The thing about Lamar and the NFC does stick in my head. Maybe it's just a law of small numbers and like he just, there's small sample size, but there maybe is something too. You never really know until you see it, until you experience it, what it's like to have to stop that guy. So I'm on Baltimore, but I understand where you're coming from. And then the not so good Monday night game. Jim Harbaugh brings his Chargers, 2nd straight road game. That'll go fine. The offense, it's so funny. I watched that game live because all LA games are on live here. And like I watched it and they were winning 24-0 or 17-0, whatever it was. They were crushing them, but it wasn't impressive on offense for the Chargers. It was good on defense. And then I'm reading afterwards how the Charger offense finally broke out. And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, J.K. Dobbins was good, but they didn't. They threw like 10 of their first 11 plays and then never threw again. I don't know. I don't trust the Charger offense. This is a hard one for me to really believe in as a road favorite.
It is tough for me. I mean, to me, this comes more down to like this. We're talking about the offense. Comes down to like the Charger defense has been pretty impressive, kind of overplaying itself. But at the same time, like it's not that. I don't think it's crazy to say that Kyler Murray is the best quarterback they're going to face yet. So like who have they gone through yet? It's kind of been a schedule driven thing. So I am interested in that part. At the same time, I really don't trust this Arizona like setup in general right now, particularly the defense, which like has been throwing everything at people. But I don't know how much you're going to throw at a team who's just telling you what they're going to do. They're just going to punch you in the face and run and get weird with it. I'm going to give the points. I don't know why. it's Dicker the kicker, and also it really comes down to Arizona. I really think Arizona's in trouble on offense. It's like he looked good. He's kind of looking like Jalen Hurts right now. Not a good thing. Kind of regressing,
No.
just running around like a nut. Yeah.
Yeah, they were really bad last week. I mean, you're making sense. Kevin in the chat is like, LOL at me. Chargers easy. It's a weird spread, though. I kind of agree with Big Fudge. It's a weird spread. Chargers 3-point favorite on the road. I should have listened on the road last week, though. I mean, the Chargers were a 3-point favorite last week in Denver against a better defense, and that game was totally in hand. So you know what? On the fly, Jim and Kevin have convinced me I'm going to be on the Chargers. I'm laying the points as well. I was really close, so we'll lay the points. This is the part in the program when we ask all of you in the chat and anybody watching afterwards. In the chat, just say it in the chat. Afterwards, say it down in the comments. What's your best point spread bet of week 7? And we're going to tell you ours. I will also tell you, however, that last week, the person who had the right bet, the right one that Dave picked out, was Justin Villa, who had the Falcons. I did not. Justin wisely disobeyed my marching orders and picked the Falcons and gave the points against Carolina. Congratulations to you, Justin. So as Jim, the people in the chat are telling us their best bets, what are yours?
I'm going to go with the footy pajamas.
Wow.
Patriots. I don't believe in this Jackson.
You don't like that line. Yeah.
It's just good. It's funky. It should be like a 3-point line, not 5.5. And then I'm going to go again with some loyalty. I just think the Eagles' role on this bad Giants team, it's really the factors you mentioned between losing a great left tackle, Neighbors. I don't know. It's a long break so far. Obviously, a brain injury. They just don't seem like they're in a good place for this. And the Eagles can stumble their way into a covering.
I'm going to be on the Lions in a really fun, good game, but I'm sort of with some of the folks in the chat that I thought even in Minnesota they'd be favored. So I'm going to be on the Lions. And by the way, as of recording this, that line is 2.5. There's no harm in waiting to see if it gets to 3. If you're on the Lions side of things, the Lions are very, very good as an underdog. I think there's a number that the last 9 they might be 8-1 as an underdog. So I will be on the Lions as my. I feel good about that one. And man, I had a hard time coming up with a second one that I feel great about. But I'll also go Eagles. I had that as a 2-point difference. I can't do it with the Patriots, man. I can't do it. I don't trust them at all. It's a stupid line, and I think you're probably right that line is just weird, but I can't do it. So that's going to do it. That's going to do it for our preview here of the Week 7 games. I want to thank Dave for being just the best producer that we could possibly ask for. I want to thank Jim for being an incredibly funny co-host and analyst. I appreciate you, Jim. All the people here live right now, well over 100 people. It might be closer to 200. I'm not completely updated on my webpage here, but you're awesome. Thank you for being here. You're hilarious. We love when you're chatting with us. We hope you had fun being here. And if you're watching us after the fact, awesome. Thank you. Hopefully you have some context for what we're about to watch in the NFL for Week 7. Want to thank DraftKings again for sponsoring us. If you don't have the DraftKings app, sign up using the code HarrisTube. $1 $5 bet. You'll get $200 in bonus bets, and that's a fun thing to do. For Dave, for Jim, thank you to all of you live chatters and all of you after the fact too. I'm Chris. We'll see you next time. Bye.